দর্শক আমন্ত্রণ RTV নিয়মিত আলোচনা অনুষ্ঠান ForthRight। এই অনুষ্ঠানে আমরা কথা বলি বিভিন্ন সেক্টরের বিশেষজ্ঞদের সাথে, যারা বাংলাদেশ নিয়ে ভবিষ্যৎ পরিকল্পনা ও তাদের অভিজ্ঞতা নিয়ে আলোচনা করে। করোনা নামক এক অদৃশ্য শক্তির বিরুদ্ধে লড়াই করছে সারা বিশ্ব, আর এই শক্তিকে পরাস্ত করে অনেকটা স্বাভাবিক জীবনে ফিরেছে চীন। বাংলাদেশকে এই ব্যাপারে সহযোগিতার বিষয়ে 20 মে মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রী শেখ হাসিনাকে আশ্বস্ত করে চীনের প্রেসিডেন্ট শি জিনপিং। এই ফলশ্রুতিতে গেল 8 জুন ডাক্তার লি ওয়েনশিওর নেতৃত্বাধীন বিশেষজ্ঞ একটি দল 2 সপ্তাহের জন্য ঢাকায় আসেন। এসব নিয়ে কথা বলবো আজকের ForthRight অনুষ্ঠানে। আপনাদের সঙ্গে আছি আমি সৈয়দ আশিক রহমান। আজ কথা বলবো বাংলাদেশের করোনা নিয়ন্ত্রণে চীনের সহযোগিতার বিষয়ে। আর বিষয় আলোচনার জন্য আমাদের সঙ্গে যুক্ত হয়েছেন স্বাস্থ্য পরিবার কল্যাণ মন্ত্রণালয়ের মাননীয় মন্ত্রী জনাব জাহিদ মালিক এমপি এবং বাংলাদেশে চীনের রাষ্ট্রদূত হিজ এক্সেলেন্সি লি জিমিং। Firstly, I would like to thank Honorable Minister Mr. Jahid Malik and Excellency Ambassador for joining with us. Very good to see all of you.
Thank you very much for inviting us to join this discussion along with our Excellency the Chinese Ambassador. So we'll be happy to be here and discuss some points, discuss the issues and the situation that is prevailing in Bangladesh on coronavirus. So you can.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I would like to start with Mr. Ambassador. To fight against COVID-19, Bangladesh receives its first official foreign medical team from China. How do you evaluate this cooperation?
Well, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity at this crucial moment in Bangladesh fighting against COVID-19. As you just correctly mentioned that this Chinese medical experts team is the first of this kind in Bangladesh, especially by any foreign government. And I think they can be of some help to improve the control and treatment of COVID-19 in this country. We received a lot of help from our Bangladesh friends and Bangladesh government. Actually, at that time, Honorable Minister, you personally hand over a large quantity of materials, PPEs, and most of them are even made in Bangladesh with very high quality ones. I can still remember the day that we are together and you hand over those to me. We are not only offering some masks, PPEs, and also infrared thermometers and so on, but also I'm very glad that we can dispatch a expert of medical professionals to Bangladesh. And these days I've been watching TVs and watching the news covering of those activities of the team. It seems that they've been well praised by the Bangladesh counterparts and also the Bangladesh society. I'm very glad about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Minister Jahid Malik. Bangladesh and China are maintaining excellent bilateral relations after cooperation in several sectors, including to fight against corona. How do you evaluate this relation further in coming days?
We value the friendship between China and Bangladesh, which has been there for a long time. The Chinese people and the government has been helping Bangladesh at all times during our need and in the good times as well. Chinese government has extended help in this present situation. China was the first country to have this COVID outbreak, and they gradually managed the COVID spread, infection, treatment very effectively. That set an example for Bangladesh and for the entire world, even for the WHO. We appreciate that the Chinese government has been helping us with the required medical items, and also they have sent a team who are now in Bangladesh, and they are visiting hospitals, training our people with the knowledge and experience. And also, it is good to hear that Chinese ambassador referred to the help that has been extended by Bangladesh to China, and that has been done by the courtesy of our Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who holds China as a very close, trusted friend, and that's why they instructed us to be with China during the outbreak of COVID. And we know that with the doctors and other experts who are here in Bangladesh presently, we will be more effective and trained in fighting the COVID situation in Bangladesh in days to come. And this will strengthen our relationship, strengthen the knowledge of our doctors and the management of our hospital.
We also think so, Honorable Minister. Thank you. After visiting few hospitals like Kurmitola General Hospital, this Chinese expert team shows their level of satisfaction. What is your opinion? Do you have any plan to enhance its service?
Well, I know that the Chinese team, which consists of different experts, they have been visiting our hospitals. So once they are there, they could see how our local doctors, nurses are managing the hospitals, which includes the treatment of the patients and also how they are taken care. So the Chinese expert also expressed their satisfaction when they went to Kurmitola Hospital at the service of our doctors. But they also suggested a lot of areas where improvement can be made, because there may be some gaps, there may be some lack of experience. So there they have trained our nurses and doctors, and they pointed out the gaps and also told them how to improve the situation, how to improve the patients, how to improve the stay in the hospital and shorten the hospital, and also how to save the lives.
Mr. Ambassador Li Jiming, on May 18th, Chinese President Xi Jinping made a statement at 73rd World Health Assembly to work together for fighting against COVID-19. As a responsible member, China has fought shoulder to shoulder with the rest of the world. In your view, how does country like Bangladesh will be beneficial through this initiative? Excellency.
Well, yes, you correctly mentioned that about 1 month ago, President Xi Jinping made a statement on the opening of this very important meeting. And I think there are 4 points he mentioned, which is very important. I would like to mention here. Number 1 is that he mentioned the history of human civilization is one of fighting disease and tiding over disease. And number 2, he mentioned that the virus does not respect borders, and nor is race or nationality relevant in the face of diseases. And number 3, he also mentioned that China is ready to continue to work with the international community to support WHO's leadership in the global response, and in order to build a global community with a shared health for all. And number 4, also in this statement, President Xi mentioned that China would provide $20 billion over the next 2 years to help with the COVID-19 response and with the economic and the social development in affected countries, especially developing countries like Bangladesh. As a developing partner of China, Bangladesh is also a close friend of China, the close neighbor of China, and it is also a Belt and Road Initiative partner of China. So definitely, I would say that Bangladesh will surely benefit from this package. And also, I think the proportion of Bangladesh will be a significantly. Thank you.
Excellent, Ambassador. After coronavirus outbreak, what is the progress of Chinese development projects in Bangladesh, like the Padma multi-purpose bridge, the Karnofuli tunnel, the Duhajari-Coxbazar railway projects, and others?
I'm very glad to mention that during this tough and difficult period of time, all those projects you just mentioned are still undergoing smoothly. And as far as I was reported by those managers of these projects, they told me that there are 4 zeros in their projects. Number 1 is zero infection of Chinese employees, which means Chinese engineers, foremen, and so on. Zero infection by the virus, which is very encouraging. Yeah. Number 2 is zero stoppage of any major project in Bangladesh. So all the major projects, you just mentioned the several, but actually there are more. All of those major projects hasn't been stopped yet, hasn't been stopped at all, I would say. And the number 3 zero is zero production-related safety accident ever occurred during this period.
Chinese president also announced that China would provide $2 billion over 2 years to help with the COVID-19 response and with the economic and social development affected countries. Where Bangladesh stands? Excellent.
Well, obviously, as I just mentioned, Bangladesh as a close friend and also a BRI partner and a very good neighbor of China. Obviously, Bangladesh will take a magnificent proportion of these $2 billion, I'm sure.
Thank you for your assurance. Well, Honorable Minister Jayed Malik, after lockdown, the government declared red, yellow, and green zone. What next? Do you think this zoning system applicable for Dhaka city?
Well, first, I also, before I go to this question, I'd like to say a few words also, which we learned from China. That is, Chinese treatment procedure contain that testing is very important. So we started testing, and from 1 lab to 60 lab now. So testing is very important, which we are doing. Isolation is also very important, which we learned from China. They made field hospital. We also made field hospital isolation center, as in Bosundara and North City Corporation. Then lockdown. Chinese made very effective lockdown in Wuhan and other cities. But in Bangladesh, we also
especially in Wuhan.
Wuhan. We also tried to have lockdowns, but our lockdowns were not that effective as it was effective in China. So, and also the treatment, we also got a lot of treatment ideas from China, how the people has to be isolated and treated. We also increased the treatment facilities. China also provided us with raw material to manufacture PPE. That was very important because at that time, that was not available in the world. Entire world was shut down. So from the China, we got a lot of raw materials to manufacture the PPE for the doctors and nurses. And also China provided equipments when the rest of the world was closed. Chinese, the government, Chinese businessmen, they provided us also with equipments. And regarding zoning, we also learned from China and from other part of the world, as in Europe and in America, their zoning system is quite effective, you know. That is, zoning means containment. Where there is high infection rate, then you give a color to that, maybe red. And when there is intermediate or moderate, then you give some another color. That is, it indicates like yellow, it indicates moderate infection. When there is no infection or very little infection, then we call it a green zone, something like that. So we are contemplating to have those zoning system installed in Bangladesh. Everything depends on the people, you know. If the people abide by the zoning system, abide by the rules, regulation, health system, then only something can be made effective and successful.
Excellency Jimmy and Honorable Minister, we'll talk more after a short break. দর্শক আবার আমন্ত্রণ ForthRight অনুষ্ঠানে। আজকে কথা বলছিলাম বাংলাদেশে করোনা নিয়ন্ত্রণে চীনের সহযোগিতার বিষয়ে। ওয়েলকাম again both of you at ForthRight. Honorable Minister, both COVID and non-COVID are treated in few hospitals. How much functional this system it is?
When this COVID situation started, we made certain preparation to face the COVID situation. We started screening in the airport, then we started testing, and also we decided to have COVID hospitals separated from the non-COVID area because it is highly contagious. So initially we had dedicated COVID hospital, for example, Kormitula Hospital, Koitmotri Hospital, Mugda Hospital. All these were especially dedicated for COVID patients. But gradually as the infection increased, the patient also increased. So these hospitals were unable to cope with the patients. So we decided to have COVID and non-COVID patients in all hospitals. So we made a declaration that all the hospitals in Bangladesh, starting from Dhaka to the district level, to the Upazila level, all the hospitals were made COVID and non-COVID for both patients. And presently that is how we are working. We have made separate areas, separate floors, separate zones for COVID and non-COVID patients. We are working on both sides. Immediately we are restoring the oxygen line, central oxygen line and system in most of the hospitals. That is possible within this short time.
Excellency Ambassador, China government was asking that to control COVID, they followed a special model. How does Bangladesh can also be a beneficial through this model to fight against COVID? Excellency.
Well, yes, China has a pretty complicated model that probably can be of some value to many countries, including Bangladesh. I think number one of this model is that we put the people's life and health first. And the number two is social isolation and traffic control, of course. We have China mobilized an unprecedented large-scale public health response, and the lockdown of Wuhan, as Honorable Minister just mentioned. And number three is screening and testing and dynamic monitoring. And China that great stress on epidemic control and prevention at the source and implemented policies of early detection, early report, early isolation, and early treatment. And then test all who needs to be tested, hospitalize all who need to be hospitalized, and isolating and treating all who need to be isolated and treated. So those are the key models that China is following.
Well, Ambassador Lee, how do Bangladesh and China can exchange cooperative technology to fight against corona? Is there any special methodology to exchange kit and technology regarding corona?
I think the testing technology is developing very fast during this period of time. But up to today, I think there is not something very dramatic. We still need to take say 2 or 3 hours to get the test result.
Report.
Yes.
Result.
If we are talking about the very accurate one, not 15 minutes, not half an hour or so. Still, we need to do at least 2 hours to get the result.
2-3 hours.
Yeah, 2 or 3 hours to get the result.
Well, Honorable Minister Jad Malik, what about other control measures? China has made aggressive use of thermometers at the entrances to stores, building, and public transportation stations, for instance.
You know that in the COVID situation, we have gathered a lot of experiences and also knowledge from different countries, from China as well. what we are trying to do is that test, and through test, tracing is also important. That is what we are doing. That is to find out the infected person, then bring them to isolation. That is what we are doing in their house, sometime in their homes, and sometime in hospitals, sometime in isolation centers. Then providing them with treatment. Another thing we are trying to stress upon, give more importance is to for the people is to wear masks when they go outside. Mask is very important to contain the spread of disease, and also to maintain social distance. That is, one should maintain at least 4, 5, 6 feet from the other person, and because there are a lot of patients which don't show syndromes, which don't show sign, but they are spreading. So we should avoid crowd. We should maintain social distance. We should wash hands regularly.
Honorable Minister, people who tested positive in Wuhan but only had mild disease were sent into isolation in large facilities and were not allowed to have visits from family. Do you think Bangladesh should consider this methodology?
Bangladesh has already adopted that methodology. You know that presently we have made 2 isolation centers, big centers, 3 centers. One is Bosundhara Convention Center.
But do you think it's enough?
Well, then it is not only Bosundhara. There are other centers also, not city corporation, and those are still now not occupied. And people prefer to stay at home in isolation. So we also guide them to, when they stay at home, and they should have telemedicine service, and they should consult doctors, and they should stay away from their family members. That is working in Bangladesh more effectively. And there are isolation centers made all over the country, not only in Dhaka, in all districts. So isolation centers is for Bangladesh at the moment is quite enough. Most of them are, I think, not even 40% or 30% occupied. People prefer to stay in their home, and those who are getting, you can say sometimes they are moderate cases when they are feeling some problem, then they go to the hospital. Otherwise, they stay at home or sometime in the isolation center.
Well, thank you. Excellency Li Jiming, China announces 97% duty-free for Bangladeshi products. How does this initiative work to enhance bilateral relations further in coming days?
Well, yes, it is true that China has already decided to formally start this policy to apply preferential tax rate of 0 to 70%, 97% of the
97%.
Yes, to the Bangladesh products. And it will be effective from July 1st, which means only 10 days later. And I personally, I'm sure that after the apply of this preferential tax policy, it will bring Bangladesh actual benefit in terms of the to make the bilateral trade more balanced one. And definitely there will be more export from Bangladesh to China. And of course, it will boost the confidence of Bangladesh society and also the general public.
Excellency Li Jiming, do you allow Bangladeshi participants to go and participate in your exhibitions?
Virtual quantum fair, which is ongoing now. I think it's still in session. There is a very limited Bangladesh exporters show their products there, which is a pity.
Well,
because there is an unlimited space, unlimited accessment to this quantum fair. Why not? Yeah, take this opportunity to show more of your products. And the second, and I mean the third import commodities fair is ongoing in Shanghai, which I think is in real world, and it will be in this coming November. I hope that at that time more Bangladesh businesses can participate in Shanghai in real world.
Well, Honorable Minister, Mr. Jayed Malik, any final thought you want to share with our viewers?
I will request that during this COVID situation, COVID period, you should stay safe, wear masks, maintain social distance, and avoid crowd. And if you feel any health problem, immediately contact your doctors for consultation for treatment. And this is how we can contain the spread of virus, and also we can provide services. I'm very happy that I could join in this session, and I take this opportunity to convey my best wishes to the ambassador of China and to the people of China and their president who are helping us at this moment, and also thank our Prime Minister who is guiding us in all in this COVID affairs. And we hope that our friendship between China and Bangladesh will grow in days to come, and China also will help us continue their help in providing support to our COVID patients. Thank you.
Ambassador Lee Jiming, any final thoughts you want to share with our viewers?
After today, there are already 5 vaccines finished the phase 2 clinical experiment, which is very, very important. And now we're undertaking the 3rd clinical trial already for this 5 vaccine. The 5 vaccine account for 40% of the whole world's development of vaccine up to today. So this is a very, very encouraging news. And I hope that we can work together with our Bangladesh friends for the later development of this vaccine, and also to make this vaccine more available to our Bangladesh friends. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our RTV and to thank all the help and the support from Bangladesh society to China for fighting against this pandemic. And I wish all Bangladesh friends, all Bangladesh society good health in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining with us. দর্শক, করোনার কালবেলায় প্রায় গোটা পৃথিবী যেন হতভম্ব। ব্যতিক্রমী দু একটি দেশ ছাড়া প্রায় সবাই যেন চূড়ান্ত রকমের অপ্রস্তুত। হাতে গোনা যে কয়েকটি দেশ করোনাকে নিয়ন্ত্রণে আনতে পেরেছে, সেই তালিকার প্রথম সারিতে রয়েছে চীন। দেশটির সাথে বাংলাদেশের রয়েছে 4.5 দশকের বেশি সম্পর্ক। দীর্ঘ এই সময়ে দেশটি বাংলাদেশকে উন্নয়নমূলক বিভিন্ন কর্মকাণ্ডে সহযোগিতা করে আসছে। এরই ধারাবাহিকতায় কোভিডের মতো মহামারী নিয়ন্ত্রণেও এগিয়ে এলো বাংলাদেশের পরীক্ষিত বন্ধু চীন। পারস্পরিক এই সহযোগিতার আদলে বিশ্বায়নের ইতিবাচক পরিবর্তন ঘটুক, সেই প্রত্যাশায় শেষ করছে আজকের অনুষ্ঠান। এতক্ষণ সঙ্গে থাকার জন্য ধন্যবাদ সবাইকে।
For more updates, subscribe and press the bell icon on YouTube app and never miss another update.
Tomorrow